So recently, I just shot an entire short film on zero budget with zero actors, just me, natural light, and my friends. And for this video, I want to give you a behind the scenes breakdown of what it took to create that entire short film. And I want to utilize doing more videos like these on my channel because when I'm on YouTube, I love watching behind the scenes breakdown on how a film was produced. So without further ado, let's just dive right into it. So the short film that I just dropped called No Escape, that short film honestly was inspired by a movie that I watched on Netflix, and the movie was called 65. So long story short, to give you a brief description of the movie 65 and where I got the idea from, that movie is basically about a man, and he's traveling with some inmates through space to land on Earth, but Earth has dinosaurs, it has these mythical creatures and all that stuff. So they crash land on Earth, and only one inmate out of all of them survive, and it's him and the little girl, and they basically try to survive on Earth, and they're trying to figure out where they're at. And there's a big asteroid coming to wipe the whole Earth out, like how the dinosaurs died, etc., etc. My point is, the movie really brought interest to me because I loved how they framed the movie. I loved the mood that they gave to it. I loved the shot selection they chose and how everything was done was well orchestrated. And honestly, it inspired me to create something like this. So now for my project though, I wanted to do it on a budget. One, because I don't have any actors, like professional actors that I can use. Two, I don't really have a big budget for this project. So I wanted to show people how you can make it on a budget, and I was trying to figure out ways around it. So the first thing that I did when creating this project was write the script. Now, typically, I kind of get an idea of what it is that I already want done, and then I kind of go location scouting first and basically write to the location. But for this idea, I already knew what location that I had in mind because I knew that there was a location that was about 30 minutes away from my house, and I already been there once, and I knew that it would fit this scene perfectly. Now though, with the location part, I did go to two different locations. The first location was about 10 minutes from my house, and it was a forest that was pretty good for the video, but the only reason why I didn't use it was because this location was literally covered in humongous spiders. And I know it's a forest, what do you expect? But no, these spiders were massive, and I didn't really want to have my subjects who I'm filming run through a forest and get hit by a spider web every 10 seconds, and there just wasn't a lot of room to move around, and me trying not to fall over a branch that's laying on the ground. It wasn't really ideally in what I had, and I didn't want to cheap it out. I'm already going cheap on this whole project, but I didn't want to cheap the location out, and I also just really didn't want to get hit in the face with a massive spider. I think they were banana spiders, to be honest with you. Is that a thing, a banana spider? I don't know, they were massive though. So I just chose to go to a different location that was about 30 minutes away that I already been there, and I knew it was going to fit the vibe of the whole story. So now the shot list wasn't too difficult. It's nothing over the edge. I feel like for a shot list, you don't have to make it super duper complicated. I mean, especially if you're just starting out. Now, I'm pretty sure the way I did it is completely wrong to a professional film set, but it worked for me, and it helped my brain, and it helped me understand what it is that I was trying to establish, especially since I was basically the DP, I was the first AC, I was the director, I was basically everything. I fulfilled all the roles. So really, the only one who needs to understand it is kind of me. I mean, I explained it to my actor, and he already had a basic understanding of what it is that I wanted to do, so it wasn't really too hard for him to get the acting down.
In the foreground, we turn on laying on the ground. Then he wakes up gasping for air, like he had a nightmare. When he wakes up, he looks at the direction of the camera, but doesn't look at the camera. He looks around, trying to figure out where he is at while he's still breathing heavy. Then he looks back up for a little. Okay, so this scene is gonna be just a tight headshot. So this is all gonna be one take. There's no cuts in this one. So it's gonna be you just laying down on the ground. Where's the camera gonna be? In your hand or on the tree? It's gonna be in my hand. So I'm gonna try to add some foreground to it. So I gotta grab some sticks and some leaves and try to like place it close enough to you. And then you're gonna be laying down. I'm gonna be like this, just on your head or next to your face. And then you're going to basically wake up. And when you wake up, you're gonna be like,
when I wake up,
yeah.
laying down, sit up.
No, you ain't gonna sit up. You're not gonna sit up at all.
I'm not gonna sit up, but I'm gonna be sitting down still.
Yeah, you're still gonna be laying down, so like your eyes will be closed, and you're like,
Right.
and then
So
you're
I'm not sitting up, I'm just laying
you're
down.
not sitting up at all. This whole scene, you're
I'm
just
laying down.
yeah.
Okay.
So
So
at
it's gonna
first,
be behind me or to my side?
I'm gonna be like right here at your side, like this, you know.
Okay.
And then you're gonna wake up, and then you're gonna like look around up at first, and then you're gonna look towards my camera, but do not look directly at the camera.
Look past me.
Look around it, and then after you look around for a little bit, you're gonna look back up for a little bit, still breathe, and then you're gonna sit up. You're not gonna stand up, you're just gonna sit up. And then when you, as your motion of you getting up, it's gonna end.
So now that you kind of got a basic understanding of my thought process behind creating this whole project, now we can get into the actual behind the scenes. So for this project, I wanted to shoot it early morning because in Florida, we are in summertime right now and the sun is ridiculously bright and hot. And I did not want to do it during midday because I knew the sunlights would just be way too harsh. So I was aiming to shoot it around 7 a.m. in the morning and trying to be done no more than 2 to 3 hours of this shoot. Thankfully, we did finish the whole project in about 2 hours. But 7 a.m. call time just did not work because my actors, they have real jobs, so they have a life outside of what I do. So I can't really control that. They have things that come up. So we didn't really get to end up shooting until about 6 p.m. And that is not what I wanted because it gets dark around 8:30ish. That's when the sun goes down. And I did not want to film this at night like I did for my first short film. I wanted this project to be during the day, but due to restrictions and due to all of our schedule being all over the place, literally that day was the only day that I had to film and I just had to get it done. So I made it work and thankfully we finished exactly before it got dark. Oh, also, if you're wondering what I used to film this entire project, if you're that kind of person who cares, I shot the whole project on a Sony FX6. Obviously, that's my main camera. And then I shot it on a new lens that I purchased. It was a Sigma 24-70. And also, if you are wondering, this entire project was shot on manual focus. The only thing that was really in autofocus was the running scenes because there's just no way that I'm going to be able to pull focus and monitor him and monitor everything else while running. So, but for the most part, this entire project was on manual focus on the new Sigma 24-70 lens that I just purchased. Primarily though, when I do projects like this, I love to use prime lenses for the faster aperture. I just love to have it, especially in low light situations. Maybe if I'm in a dark room or a dark area, I love to have the 1.4 or the 1.2 or the 1.8. But for this project, I really wanted to test out the limits of this Sigma lens. So even though it was getting kind of dark in the 2.8, which is not working for me, and there was times where I really did want to switch to my G Master lens because of the faster aperture, I just made it work. And honestly, it looked pretty good. Luckily, we beat it though before it got completely dark. Then I feel like the image probably would have just fell apart. So back into creating this video. I knew for this project, I wanted like a monster. I knew I wanted my character to run from a dinosaur, but I don't have a special designer who can create me a realistic looking dinosaur or velociraptor or whatever it is that I wanted. So I had to just utilize sound design, and that's where Artlist played a big role in this project. And no, this video is not sponsored by Artlist. I wish it was, but it's not. I just use it because I love it and I think they have great sounds. So now to conduct the shot list, I use an app called Milanote. No, Milanote is not sponsoring this as well. I just love Milanote. Everything that I use in this video, I just generally use it because I love it.
He wakes up gasping for air like he had a nightmare 50 or 7 minutes. When he wakes up, he looks at the direction. Okay, cool. Okay, so this scene is gonna be you laying on the ground then.
So the shot list was a list of 11 shots, and when I made this project, when I was thinking about it, I wanted it to be over 5 minutes long, but after everything was shot and done, I went to post-production. The video was only about 1 minute and 8 seconds long. This whole video honestly completely changed when I got to the post-production process because it wasn't as long as I wanted, and me just now starting to get into these short films and learning from trial and error, there's definitely some mistakes that I made when shooting this short film that now I'm aware of, and when I do my next one, which I'm really excited to do, I'm already starting on it, I can be able to achieve a different result and not make the same exact mistake. So with the 11 shots, they were pretty basic. I don't want my actors to do too much talking in my short films because again, they're not professional actors. They have a 9-to-5 job. They have their own life. They're just helping me. So I don't really want to involve too much talking in my short films. When I level up and when I start meeting new people and meeting real actors and professional actors, then I can do more of communication in my short films. But as of right now, I don't want them to really try to remember an entire script when this is not something that they do. So with these 11 shots, what I had in mind was trying to stretch these shots out. Now, I didn't want to stretch them out to the point where I'm just wasting film and it's just not making any sense. It's not really going to catch your attention. But I wanted to stretch them out to where it did make sense. And when I filmed it, every single clip was about like 50 to 30 seconds long. So they weren't as long as I wanted them to become, and thus making the reason why the short film was kind of short. Also, one thing that I did miss out on, let me rewind myself, is sound design. I like to find my music before I start anything. So for the next project, I already found the song that I wanted to use. I don't like finding the music last minute because it just stresses me out. I like everything to be well scripted and well documented, or I'm gonna start stressing out. So when I got into this project, I didn't really have a set sound or a song that I wanted in mind. So as I was looking and as I finished creating everything first, I typically don't do this, but with this project, I actually just aligned the clips first because it wasn't many clips. I only had like 11 clips. So it wasn't much to work with. So as I sat there and finished aligning all the clips, I went back and looked for the sound that I wanted for this project. And the songs that I was finding, they were good, but for how short this clip was, it's just I wasn't able. I wanted more, you know, and I knew that that was the only day that I was able to shoot. It wasn't like I was able to set up a different day to go back and shoot. So for this project, there was supposed to be a little bit of talking. There was supposed to be a little bit of character. It wasn't really just supposed to be like an intense trailer vibe, but in the end, that's what I turned it into. So I think it came out really good. I think it came out as a great teaser trailer, you know. If I watched that, I would want to know, like, okay, where's the full movie? You know what I mean? Where's the full short film? So that was kind of what I changed it into, but it originally was not supposed to be that. I know with this project, I did not want to use the gimbal because I just don't want to set up the FX6 on a gimbal for the handheld steady shots. I know a lot of people, when they watch my short films, they're like, oh, it could have been a lot better if it was more stabilized. I like the handheld look. That's just me. I love the intense handheld look. Now I feel certain shots definitely do need to be stabilized, like my B-roll shots, like the iPhone shot, perfect example. When I filmed that iPhone shot, it was handheld. I was basically sitting down on the ground, crisscross applesauce, and I had the camera leaned against my leg, and I was filming it like that. But when I was in post-production, I noticed that there was just too many jitters, just too many micro jitters. So I went and added catalytic browse, and I stabilized it through there. Certain shots like that, I definitely wanted to be stabilized, but like the running shots, I did not want to be stabilized. Me sitting in the bushes, I didn't want to be stabilized because I wanted to make you feel like you were the predator and you were looking at him through the bushes. So obviously, the predator might be like swaying back and forth, foaming at the mouth, looking for its prey, you know, whatever. I'm probably not doing that, but I don't know. But that's the type of emotion that I wanted you to feel in this project. So that's why not everything was shot on a gimbal. Second of all, I don't like gimbals. They take too much time and you gotta just calibrate them and then you gotta balance them. And I was using a zoom lens. So if I wanted to zoom out, I would have to rebalance it, and I didn't want to do that. This entire short film was shot at the 50mm focal length and the 70mm focal length. Those are the two focal lengths that I know for sure that I wanted to use. I didn't use anything wide. I didn't want nothing beyond 50 because I just wanted to use 50 and 70. So that was my choice for the focal length. And trying to do that on a gimbal and bouncing out every single time would have just took way too much time. But one thing I am considering in purchasing is maybe like an easy rig. I want to purchase one of those to save my back during these shoots, because if you see the clip of me running, chasing my subject, I look like a complete moron. Trying to hold the camera up so high while trying to maintain focus on it, while trying to make sure that he's properly framed and aligned. So if you paid attention to the shot of him running through the forest, you will notice that there was trees on both sides of the frame. So I try to keep him centered and use the trees as leading lines for this project. I'm probably gonna, instead of me moving, I'm probably just gonna stay here. Yeah, you can go faster, make it look really real. Get a little bit more to the left. Yeah, right there. So me running, trying to make sure that he is lined up straight while maintaining the leading lines on the left and right side of the frame, that was a challenge in itself, especially we were going up a hill. May not look like it, but there was a slant to that hill, so I'm carrying an FX6, pretty heavy when it's fully rigged out. So now two of my favorite shots for this entire project was actually the laying down shot and the iPhone shot. Both those shots had to be done in manual focus because Sony's autofocus, it was just hunting around way too much. Now with the laying down shot, I wanted to add some foreground into the image. I actually was trying to originally shoot it from a high and kind of like look down towards him. I wanted to shoot it through some tall grass and look down towards him, but there was no tall grass in that area. So what I did was I went and grabbed some sticks and I used the sticks as foreground. I didn't want to just place the camera on the ground and just shoot like that. I wanted to create some separation from my subject. I wanted to use something to be in the middle of the frame or in the front of the frame and just create that separation from him, you know? So now a funny thing as well, the shot where he was listening to the voice message on the iPhone, you probably don't even know, but he was listening to a voice message on the iPhone. He wasn't reading anything. The original script, I had him listen to a voice message that I created on the iPhone, basically just telling him to run, to leave, to get out of here. Action.
Oh, but it wasn't done yet.
That shot was actually removed from the entire film. So I originally was gonna have him listen to that, and I was gonna try to have my microphone capture the audio so you can kind of get like of an in-time audio feel of it and hear it like as if he was hearing it in real time. But it just didn't come out right. So what I was going to do, I was going to use it as a voiceover and play it on the screen as he's listening to it so you can see. But again, I changed the entire short film completely. And the reason why I did that and changed the entire short film was the simple fact that there was a big mistake that I felt like I personally made in this project, and it was after the iPhone scene. After he listens to the iPhone, basically the clip just jumps into him walking into the middle of the forest. I feel like that was a humongous gap right there in that whole section. I felt like I just left so much out to the viewer and wondering, okay, how did he go from a big open field to the forest, you know? That's just me. Maybe that wasn't bad. Maybe to some of you that was a good choice, but to me, I felt like there just needed to be something fulfilled in that gap. I feel like there needed to be something to explain how did he go from a field to a forest? You know what I mean? I feel like there was a big empty space right there, and that's kind of what made me, that's honestly what made me change the whole script to making it basically like a little trailer, or like a intense thriller trailer. And now I know for the next project to utilize and think about moments like that. Instead of just ending the clip where he fell on the ground and then going to the forest, maybe I should have just did a wide shot of him just basically getting up, and then he's basically walking out of frame, walking towards the direction of the forest. Maybe I could have done that, and then that probably would have fulfilled it a lot better rather than just having him fall to the ground and then boom, he's in a forest. Like, how does he go from listening to an iPhone, falling to the ground, to being in the forest? You know what I mean? I feel like that's what I should have done, but I didn't think about that in the post-production process because everything I had in my head kind of just didn't go. Everything for the most part went right. But up until that part, when I actually got on set and I filmed it, I was like, what's next? I was like, dang, I messed something up. Like, I left something out, the most important part, the transition. The transitions are very, very important whenever you're making these films. And I feel like there was a big lack of transition. And again, it's not like I could just go out there and just go refilm everything again or just refilm that part again. And that's something that really altered the entire short film. Maybe to you guys, I didn't really have to do that and I shouldn't have done that. But to me, it was bothering me. I feel like there just needed to be something there. Now, not always do I need to have something there. Now I know for the next film that is something that I need to remember and take into consideration is the transitions. The transitions are very, very important. And for the most part, I was aligning the transitions. Every transition that you've seen, I wrote them. So it would make perfect sense. They would all flow together. I don't know how I skipped over that transition. Like, that's just like the biggest gap. Like, how did he get from a field to a forest? I feel like I should have just, I don't know. Leave in the comment section below, what do you think? I genuinely want to know, what do you think that I should have done to fill in that gap? Should I just left like a B-roll shot? I just got him reading the phone, listening to the phone, getting up, and then walking out of the frame towards the forest direction? What should I have done? Let me know in the comment section below. I genuinely do want to know. I'm going to read it. I think for the most part, this entire project, it came out how I want it to come out for the most part, not entirely, but I am definitely well pleased with it, and I'm so glad that you guys enjoy it. I'm already in the process of creating another short film. This one is going to be, I want to do it indoors. I want to actually use artificial light. I want to have well-controlled lighting. I want to light everything how I want it to be shot. So I'm in the process of that right now. I'm thinking about creating a short film once a month because you guys really seem to enjoy it and the videos are doing really, really good. I'm so happy because I really enjoy doing them. And I think for this next project, I want to use a cinema lens. I've been using photography lenses and they're good and all, but there's a reason why movies and professional cinematographers use cinema lenses, and I want to use one. Leave in the comment section below. I have an FX6, the cinema camera. That's what I'm going to use. Which cinema lens should I use for my cinema camera? I'm thinking about either the Diesel Film Vespid Primes, or I'm thinking about the IRIX, the 45mm cinema lens. Those two, because they're budget, I'm not going to say affordable, but they're affordable for a cinema lens. I'm thinking about using those. I'm going to rent those out. Or if you know anything about the cheaper 7 Artisans lens, I think those are around like $340, $50. I don't know. They're a lot more affordable than both the Zizo and the IRX. Let me know what you think. Leave in the comment section below, what is a good cinema lens that I should pick up and rent out? I definitely do want to pick up at least one cinema lens, because I am looking for a 50mm focal length lens, I'm really considering a cinema lens. You know, they give you a different look, and I want to get into more production sets like this. I want that imperfection of the cinema lens that just give you a look that a photography lens is not going to give you. A photography lens is just going to give you a crazy, ridiculously sharp image. I don't always want that as I grow in my cinematography. And this is what I enjoy doing. Yeah, I do a lot of event work and I do interviews, and sometimes they're boring. Without further ado, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I want to do more videos like these behind the scenes, giving you a breakdown of how things were shot. I'm going to get a dedicated B camera. Everything was shot on an iPhone 14, and it doesn't look the best. But I definitely am going to pick up a dedicated B camera so I can have more professional image and professional audio to give you a deeper dive on what it was like to create this entire project. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to see you in the next video. Abbiantu, buongiorno.